Hi, everyone. Welcome to the stream. My name is Miriam Dorset. I'm the founder of Hebor. We build brands and products for artists and community organizations. And today I'm live on Entra, the #1 fastest growing Web3 professional network and the new way to work. Thanks for joining the stream today. If you're live in the audience, really appreciate you being here. I really want you to join the conversation with us. It feels great to see people coming back to my stream week after week. You can comment in any questions that you have, and also you can raise your hand to join us on stage if you want. Otherwise, you can also use the reactions. Today, I have the pleasure of chatting with my guest, Andre Smith, AJ. He is the founder of Chosn. His professional career has been made up of operational roles across a variety of industries, including manufacturing, retail pharmacies, investor research, and digital marketing. His undergrad degree is in finance from the UNC Charlotte. And after that, he went into his first entrepreneurial venture, which was a Mortuary Science company. And then we'll get into what happened fast forward 10 years later, but I wanted to just say hi to AJ and welcome you to the room. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me. It's good to see you again.
Yeah. And how much time do you have today? I want to be respectful. I know busy entrepreneurs, you always have things going on.
I'm good. I'm good for at least the next hour.
Awesome. And so where are you joining us? Like, I see a brick background. Like, do you have a desk in front of you? What's on your desk?
Yeah, so I'm actually in an audio studio in a co-working space near in Raleigh, downtown Raleigh, North Carolina. But yeah, normally when I'm at home, I do not have this amount of audio material on my desk. That's for sure.
Well, thanks for joining us from the co-working space. It looks like a cool spot. Let's dive into what you're doing now. I want to pull up the website for people so they can see, and I'll drop the link into the chat as well. You're the founder of Chosn. I love it. It's a relationship app that uses behavioral sciences to deepen and enrich your existing relationships. So it basically makes all of your relationship goals easy. You guys help individuals pursue their relationship goals with the most important people in their life. You're on a mission to guide others to make better communication decisions with the people that they love. How did you go about coming up with this amazing idea?
So it was really my own personal journey that I went on through personal development. And so it was a mix of therapy and books and podcasts, but I really still didn't have a way to how to actually go home and implement this in my life. And so if I have a good therapy session or I read a good book, how do I actually implement it, whether it's with my family or with a romantic partner, that might look different. And so like, how do I actually do it in real time? And so that's where Chosn was born out of, that journey. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. How did you come up with the name? It's such a unique name.
So it was actually, I was at a friend's house, whose wedding I was in. And so I happened to go to school with his wife as well. So we were having a conversation just about like, what I was thinking about building. And so it kept coming up, choosing. And so, they, regardless of, whether or not they like each other in the moment, they have to make a choice to love each other and stay married. And that's something that you have to do on an ongoing basis. And that really goes across all of our relationships. We have to choose how we show up and, make a point of, in a healthy relationship, both parties are choosing on an ongoing basis, choose to be in each other's life.
That is beautiful. And you and I connected through our passion for mental health. Relationships obviously play a huge role in someone's mental health, making sure that they don't feel alone and they have people around them that support them. So when I think about what you're doing, I wanted to see if maybe, I know it's kind of last minute, but it's so easy to use and get started. Is there a way that you can share your screen, maybe give a demo of how people
Yeah.
can sign up and start taking advantage of Chosn?
Yeah, absolutely. I will do that.
Great. While you're pulling that up, feel free to chat in any of your questions. I'm going to say hi to people. Fluffy Panda, it's good to see you. Hi, Bert. Nice. Great to have you join. Madeline, I love your heart locket. Okay, looks like we're pulled up here. So talk us through this app.
Yeah, so first of all, you just have to go to chosn.io. It's a web app, and so therefore you just have to go to the website. The landing page is really simple. It just tells you a little bit more about what we do, what nudges are, and how we are there to help you. But all you have to do is hit Let's Go. You'll sign in. The reason why it's important for your phone number is we will send you nudges based on your goals. We'll send them to you text messages. So it's just 3 times a week based on what your goals are. And every 30 days, you'll get an opportunity to reset those goals. I really wish, if you think about what you work on a yearly basis, you don't work on the exact same thing for a whole year. So wanted to give people an opportunity to also change their goals every 30 days. So depending on what they're working on. So the first thing you do is decide what relationship that you want to work on. So family, yourself, your romantic partner, your friends, we're there to support any relationship type that you want to work on. From there, you'll get an option of 6 goals to choose from. Pick your 3 favorite. And then you can tweet that out. You can send it to somebody that you want to hold yourself accountable to. And this is the dashboard. So it keeps you abreast of reminding you what your 3 goals are. And then on the nudges, so these are the nudges that we're sending to you text message. So we send them out Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the morning, just to let you know how you can actually accomplish that goal and a simple suggestion on what to do. And then some of them also have a learn more link in it that will allow you to do a deeper dive and understand, why is that nudge important and how to actually implement it into your life. And again, that's also something else that you can share as well. And then after 30 days, you'll get a link, a reminder of hey, reset your goals. And from there, you can pick a different relationship to work on, or or different goals within that same relationship.
So easy.
Yeah, made it super simple. So yeah, and later on this fall, we'll also bring back our Chosn challenges. So one thing that we did for Valentine's Day, I partnered with a relationship expert and created a love challenge. And so a person can take it either solo or partnered. And that one in particular was all about their love life. But we'll have challenges for books or challenges for different parts of a person's life as well.
And how much does it cost for people to start using it?
So to start using it, it's free. Right now, we haven't implemented the paid features, but I'm certain at some point we'll add the paid features of the Chosn challenges. So when we start diving into how do you actually implement books into your life, those will probably be things that we make a point of creating a subscription for.
I love that. And definitely everyone hop in now while it's still free. Congratulations, AJ, for being able to put together this app. And as someone who's working on their own messaging app, I know it's not an easy feat to do this, especially when it comes to these types of topics. There's always going to be a lot of criticism around how you're doing it or whether you have the right credentials. And that, I think it's because these types of things really matter to people. When we're talking about mental health, as someone who's involved in this work, you're seeing what people are choosing to work on for their own mental health, for their own health period. What do you think is the future of mental health?
So I think so right now the industry has spent about 700 million over the past decade, and it's really just been to give therapists Zoom accounts. And so it really makes it really hard to get buy-in from anybody that hasn't already bought into the idea of therapy. And so that's the one challenge. Like they've gone literally from supporting 42% of people that need therapy on a yearly basis to 47% of people. So after $700 million, they still haven't broken 50% of the need. And so I really think that it's important to meet people where they're at. And so having a level of cultural competence that takes into account that not everybody has bought into the idea of therapy. And so just saying the word therapy might get somebody to not download or use your particular product or service. And so really meeting people where they're at in their personal development journey, I think is really going to be the key to making any significant improvements in care that people get.
100%. And I love that you dropped some figures there. I'm getting bombarded with them all the time. I just dropped a link into NAMI.org, a recent press release, where they are putting some numbers out on the increases that we're seeing. But it's $1 billion industry overall when you're looking at global numbers. I just attended a mental health conference that was in New York, and it's incredible the things that we're seeing. Personally, a lot of the presenters at the conference were drug related. They're developing,
Mm-hmm.
what drugs are we going to be putting out in the market? Like, how are we going to get people addicted to this or to that? I'm not saying that drugs don't work. I just like that your app, my app, these things that are out there are alternatives that are all natural and also have been proven to show a difference in people's health. What have you gotten in terms of, like, do you ever get any criticisms of your brand or your work, and how do you handle that if they do come up?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think the great thing about you know, where the time that we're in, as far as social media, everybody can give you their opinion really, really fast. But I think that that's great because I think it forces you to make a better product. And I think if you look at some of the current events that are going on, it's going to be really important that we make products that you're not having to sell advertisements against, and keeping people's information private, especially in regards to mental health. So I think one of the examples that I've gotten criticism on was people, when they initially think about relationships, they think of their romantic partner. And it's like, man, that is one part of our relationships, but like that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to create a dating app. And so, one of the things I had to reflect on is like, okay, why is people getting that perception? Um, is it the colors? Is it the name? Is it the language that I'm using? And I would say one of the things that I'm able to bring to the table is, because I'm not the subject matter expert, I'm advocating for the customer, because I am that person that didn't grow up in a household that, therapy was advocated for. Being a Black man from the South and in a religious household, we're often told, pray about it, it'll magically be better. And so I don't have to like take the criticism personally, because I'm not the one that, went to, school for therapy or counseling. I'm trying to help people get whatever they need to be the better version of themselves. And so whether that's they need a marriage counselor, whether they need a personal trainer, it's my responsibility to go out and get those experts. But I don't have to be so beholden to one particular solution, because my job is to close the mental health gap, and that's not going to be done with just one avenue. So it allows me to detach and make it less personal.
Yeah, it definitely is important, I think, to point out that you're on your own journey, and everyone is. It's not like a magic pill that
Right.
one solution fits for everyone when it comes to mental health. It's different for everyone. And it's about having those tools in your toolbox. So when challenges do come your way, you pull it out. You're like, okay, what am I going to try in order to get through this time of my life?
Yeah,
I
and
know.
I can relate to the pill aspect, because my dad is a chemist. And so growing up in a pharmaceutical household, there's actually depression medicine for dogs. And so, literally he would just talk about how like you would see like the beef juice like dripping out into the hallway from, making sure that it has the flavor in there. So yes, I'm very, very familiar with the process because it was something that we talked about at the dinner table.
Interesting. Okay, well, fast forward a little bit. I hope you don't mind sharing, the breakup that you had gone through about 10 years ago, right? And that
Yeah.
led you into this journey of self-discovery and improvement, which is such a proactive way to kind of go through a breakup. And then you found this company, Chosen, this relationship enrichment app. For those of you guys that are just joining us, we're talking with AJ Andre Smith. He's the founder of Chosen. It's a relationship app that uses behavioral science to deepen and enrich your existing relationships. It's all of your relationship goals made easy. We're not just talking about your loving relationships, relationships with yourself, relationships with your family, fitness goals, things of that nature. You can check out the link that we've dropped in the chat. But I love that you say, people can be in control of what they want to improve in their lives. And you have all of these options on how you can go about your self-discovery journey. And your app is there. It's that guide that provides people personalized feedback one-on-one with yourself so that you can gain a new level of introspection and understand what your own individual needs are. You're a young entrepreneur. You're out there. You've put your MVP out. You're doing big things. What words or lessons would you leave to like the younger generation who maybe they don't know exactly what their passion is? You clearly have found yours. What would you say to them?
I would say just be open to the possibilities. So one of the things that took me on my journey of entrepreneurship, one story in particular. So my great grandfather was really, really good at art, and it was just something that he did as a hobby. And someone at some point came to him and said, "Man, your art is really good. I would love to make your art move. And I'm starting a company around the idea of making that art move." And he was like, "That just sounds really weird. I don't know what you're talking about, but I have a family. I can't take risks." And that person went on to be Walt Disney. And so how different would my life be if he was in a place to where he was comfortable with taking risk? And so I'd say surround yourself with a support network that's going to allow you to take calculated risk and be there on your journey to help. Because maybe if he would have had an advisor or a mentor, that could have, guided him during that process, maybe he would have made a different decision. And even though like I've been willing to take risks, it doesn't mean that like I know all of the answers. And sometimes you're gonna have to, jump before you have all those answers. One of the popular things about being an entrepreneur is, they always say, you jump and then you create a parachute on your way down. And so, not having that advisor or not having that support network to ask questions have definitely, made me made expensive mistakes in my entrepreneurial journey. And so I definitely recommend people always have three professional relationships. So a mentor that can guide you based on their previous experience, a peer that you're going through something similar and you can relate to each other, and then a mentee, because if you can't teach it, you probably haven't learned it well enough. And
Mm,
so always pay it forward, just like your mentors do to you.
beautiful words of wisdom. If you're watching this back, we're streaming this live on Entra, the #1 fastest growing Web3 professional network that gives you the new way to work. You can join at joinentra.com. And I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about Web3? We're on this Web3 platform. You can earn cryptocurrency for creating content today on Entra. Have you heard about Web3? I know that Chosen's not involved in it, but just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, for sure. I think Web3 is similar to Web2 in the sense of I'm a finance major. And so there's still principles of economics that ultimately we are working towards providing a customer with a solution for their pain point. And right now we are doing thousands of experiments on Web3, similar to how they did thousands of experiments for Web2. And at some point, there's going to be a lot of failed experiments, but then sometimes there's going to be experiments that work out. And so I think it's just a matter of keeping in perspective and not getting too emotionally invested in any one particular solution, because ultimately it's going to be everyone in the audience is going to have an opportunity to determine what Web3 is, the same way that the customers of Web2 determined what Web2 ended up being, and what ended up making YouTube or TikTok, etc., popular. The customers voted with their feet and with their dollars. And so in Web3, they will vote with their cryptocurrency as well as their feet. And ultimately, it's going to be customers that decide what it is and who wins.
I agree. And we appreciate everybody who's joined us on Entre today. And that includes you now, AJ. People can connect with AJ. He's here on Entre. If you have questions, chat them in now, because we are going to start to wind down our conversation in the stream today. What are any other last words of wisdom, things that you want to make sure that people understand about what you're working on?
Yeah, so I would say just that my goal at Chosn ultimately is to close the mental health gap by creating daily touch points that a person can access. But the goal is to eventually have an end-to-end solution for all of a person's emotional and mental health. So at some point, we'll also add on-demand coaching and on-demand therapy, because I think it's important that regardless of where you're at on that journey, that we want to be there to support you. And so definitely love to connect with people managers. I know later this year I want to run an employee wellness pilot, because I think that ultimately our human capital is going to solve whatever problems that we have in the world. And right now, teenagers have the highest hopelessness and depression rate. And so if 50% of your staff is either depressed or distracted because their family member or loved one is depressed, it's going to really be hard to innovate and keep up with what's going on in the market. And so I think it's going to be really important for employers to invest in the whole version of their employee self.
100% agree, and that's very exciting to hear that you're going to be exploring some of those. Let's see if anyone has any questions in the chat here. You have a question, but the app keeps glitching. Sorry to hear that. Andre, do you plan on releasing a mobile app or maybe a D app?
So I'm assuming that's a decentralized app for Web3. So all of those things are that I'm open to. I wanted to make it easy as possible to onboard people. And so I wanted to lower the barrier of entry, because a lot of times people will eventually find you in the App Store, but then they still have to download it. So it just creates an additional step. So one of the things that I wanted to do was to lower that entry bar by making it as easy as possible. And so because you're getting the direct text message, you're able to access it without having to go through any additional steps. And all of those other things, as far as the apps or the D apps, all of those things will be possible in the future after somebody is onboarded. But the key is meeting people where they're at and getting them onboarded as quickly as possible.
Right. And I agree with you. I think we're over it. We've got so many apps. It's really challenging to do a successful app these days. But text messaging is an easier entry point, faster, and feels more protected in terms of my privacy and everything. Great question. Love that. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for chiming in with your questions. AJ, let's make sure that people can connect with you. I'm going to drop some of these links into the chat, but what's the best way for people to connect with you should they have more questions or want to get in touch?
Yeah, so they can reach me at ajsmith@chosn.io, and it's chosen without the E. So that's going to be the quickest way. Also, I'll make a point of dropping my calendar link in there as well, so that if you just want to book a time on my calendar, always happy to have a conversation with people as well.
Thank you. That's very kind. And for those that are watching this back live and everyone in the audience today, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining the stream.
Thanks so much.